Hey, what's going on, guys? Listen, there's new breaking news in the Tony Buzzbee versus Jay-Z the saga. It looks like Jay-Z has his first big one. A lot of people were wondering if Jay-Z is innocent. What's going on? I said from the beginning this could go either way. Maybe Jay-Z just got a big win in what looks like a hit piece commissioned by NBC News, going in on the victim and calling her out for obvious inconsistencies. Baby Tony Buzzbee, you got 24-48 hours to respond. Let me just say this, and I'm looking at Tony Buzzbee a little weird. Why would you let your victim, your client, go speak to NBC News? For what? NBC News, NBC Universal, Disney. Come on. That whole clique, the NFL, came out and supported Jay-Z. He is a billion-dollar industry, and people are going to protect their assets. That said, he got 48 hours to explain these inconsistencies. Again, keep in mind this is NBC News, and yes, we have a lot of respect for mainstream media, but just I want it. You got 48 hours to respond, but listen to this, because everybody that thinks Jay-Z is innocent, baby, this is your golden holy grail to run with it. The woman told NBC News she came forward because you should always advocate for yourself. When asked about inconsistencies in her account, she said, "I made some mistakes." This is by Chloe E. Malice. Janelle Griffith and Mitty Mehta, they went to Houston to interview her. They said an Alabama woman he accused Jay-Z and Diddy of raping her when she was 13 years old sat down with NBC News to recount what she called a catastrophic event, a limo ride to the White House, a drink that made her feel woozy, and sexual assault by rapper that would ruin her life. But the woman and her lawyers also acknowledge that there are some inconsistencies in her account and response to questions by NBC News. Now let me just say this right, and it has to be said, I don't know if this young woman is lying or not, and also if you know anything about people recounting what happened to them, it always gets groggy. That said, booby, you got 48 hours, 'cause this is not looking good. Okay, sorry, where was I? You know my door. Came. Okay, you guys. This interview, I am still wondering what happened and why Buzzbee let this happen. Okay, these inconsistencies aren't little inconsistencies either. However, they can be easily explained away. But my whole point is, why would Boozy bring their client? Disney ain't letting go of that money, Bayance. They even got so much power, NFL, again, NBC Universal, Disney, all that stuff. It was a dumb move, but let's get into this right. Alright, so
they're saying that a limo ride to a White House, a drink that made her feel woozy, and sexual assault by a rap star that would ruin her life. But the woman and her lawyers also acknowledge that there are some inconsistencies in her account and response to questions from NBC News. She said, "I made some mistakes and regulations that night." Actually, let's read it in her voice. I made some mistakes and recollection that night. The inconsistent in our account, NBC reports, alleged that happened 24 years ago do not necessarily mean the allegations are false. Thank you, NBC News. Among the inconsistencies, she said her father picked her up the evening show Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, and Diddy from the alleged sexual assault, but he says he doesn't recall that. Remember how everybody was saying, how could she sneak out at such a young age? Do you think this is how? Because I know what y'all are saying, well, she is lying, but I don't know. For your father to be like, I don't remember that, but did anyway, right? The woman also claimed she spoke to a celebrity at the after party where she said she was sexually assaulted, but that celebrity said he was not in New York at the time, and the images from the show are from different locations than the one the woman described, although their whereabouts for the entire evening are unclear. Now let me just say this right, because we got to get into it. The father stuff is like very concerning, because like, did he pick you up or not, and is there a record of this, her mistaking a celebrity? So she thought that she was talking to Benji Madden, and he said he wasn't there, and they have proof they weren't at the VMA, so clearly I don't know, she thought she was talking to some white boy with tattoos and piercings and a sideways cap. Jay-Z and Sean Carter being at different locations than the one she described, that's actually the weakest at it. That's not an inconsistency. Because you don't know where they were for the whole night, and JT keeps saying that he was at Lotus or whatever that is at the Midtown that is literally 15 minutes away from Jersey. Like, you can't be serious, and everybody that lives in New York knows that anyway, right? This is what Jay-Z said. and now what his proclamations sound like is he might be on something. He said this incident didn't happen, and yet he filed it in court and doubled down in the press. He's talking about Tony Buzzbee. True justice is coming. We fight from victory, not for victory. What this was over before it began is 1-800 lawyer. He doesn't realize it yet, but soon. Okay, what is Jay-Z doing? Is he doing his gladiator stuff? What does that even mean? We fight from victory, not for victory. To fight from victory means you could be either right or wrong, it just means you're more powerful. To fight for victory means you are moving toward victory. You want victory, you're fighting for it. Victory, does Jay-Z realize his quote? Does it mean what it means? First of all, he thinks he's in the movie 300. We fight from victory. I mean, I get what he was doing, and he was feeling. I believe he wrote this, and I believe he thinks he bars, but fighting from victory just means you got the power. Fighting for victory could mean that you're fighting against the power or whatever. Anyway, right. Tony Buzzbee says he's continuing to vet her claims. How are you interviewing with NBC, and you're still vetting claims? And why would you include Jay-Z in a lawsuit if you don't have proof? But let's continue, I'm reading this in real time. Janelle's case was referred from our firm by another who vetted it prior to sending it to us. Our client remains fiercely adamant that what she stated is true and, to the best of her memory, will continue to vet her claims and collect cooperating data to the extent it exists because we have interrogated her immensely. She even agreed to submit to a polygraph. I've never had a client suggest that before. In any event, we always do our best to vet each and every claim made, just as we did with this case. This has been extremely distressing for her, to the point she's experienced seizures and had to seek medical treatment due to stress. Again, the allegations against Jay-Z suggest a seismic shift potentially linking the rap legend to the alleged behavior laid out in civil and criminal cases against Diddy, who, as you know, is sitting therein. MDC again has decided to drop his bid for bail. We'll talk about that in a different video. Jay's attorney, Alex Spiro, well, baby, he is going in on Buzzbee, and he is doing the happy dance. Literally, all he's saying is, I told you so, alright, BBY, like I said, you got 48 hours to respond. He said it is stunning that a lawyer would not only file such a serious complaint without proper vetting, but would make things worse by further peddling this false story in the press. We are asking the court to dismiss this frivolous case today, and we'll take up the matter of additional discipline of Buzzbee and all the lawyers that file the complaint. Okay, so this is actually what we're looking for. Are you going to go to the bar? Going to sue for defamation? They're definitely going to go to the bar if they can get this dismissed. I have my doubts that they'll be able to get this dismissed. I really honestly do, but you're going to take it up with the bar if it is dismissed, and Jay-Z says this incident didn't happen, and that's what everybody was waiting for. I think that's an unequivocal denial. What do y'all think? I'm saying this incident didn't happen. Now there might be other instances, but that one didn't happen. Do you think this is enough? Because to me it's reading it like an unequivocal denial. Okay, on top of music, that Diddy's attorneys weighed in and called this suit a shameful money grab. They said Buzzbee's fought more
than 20 lawsuits against Diddy looking for money. Okay, so let's get into this right. So why did she come over and come forward? She says, and I don't understand why he let her sit for NBC News. You should always fight for what happened to you. You should always advocate for yourself and be a voice for yourself. You should never let what somebody else did ruin or run your life. I just hope I can give others the strength to come forward like I came forward. So the woman's 38 right now. She has 2 children. Emma was on her bucket list. Let's get into this inconsistency. Inside, she told NBC News, I'm talking to Fred Durst and Benji Madden about his tattoo because, about his tattoos, that's the Last Supper because I have a religious background, so it was just something to talk about. So anyway, she said accepting the drink, this ran the third. She was upset her daddy picked her up. Y'all know the story. Okay, she, She said I was upset, and the person at the gas station could tell I was obviously upset, and she let me use the he phone. I called my dad because he was the only person I trusted at the time. I told him I messed up and I needed a ride home. We rolled home in silence. He didn't ask me what happened, he didn't ask me what I did or where I was. She never told anyone about the alleged assault, and wrote it down in a diary. She said even if somebody found out, who was going to believe me? I mean, it was the word of two celebrities. Against mine. The years after were hard. She got severely depressed, withdrew completely, her grades started slipping. She experienced homelessness, and at one point suffered a head injury. She and her father also said she was graded later in life. She now has 2 children, a son and a daughter. She got her high school diploma, and got her Christian counseling church certificate so I can help people have gone through what I've gone through. She also says she has applied behavior analysis church certification, so she can help people with autism. What she says she has, she said there are so little resources to moms that don't have the proper amount of income. Okay, so let's talk about the inconsistencies. Her father told NBC News that he does not recall picking her up from the alleged attack, casting doubt on the key detail in her lawsuit. Yo, listen, the same way I was like with Jay-Z, yeah, sounds like you did it. It's the same way I have to look at this and be like, yo, okay, but Buzzbee, you got 48 hours to respond, 'cause this isn't looking good. The father told NBC News he doesn't remember picking her up, and this is a key detail of her lawsuit. What's her relationship like with her father? I really want to know because this is just weird. According to their address at the time, her father would have had to drive more than 5 hours from their home to pick her up. He said, I feel like I remember that, and I don't. I have a lot going on, but I mean that's something that would definitely stick in my mind. The woman's father, who said he had learned of the alleged assault last week, added that he didn't remember once picking her up in the middle of the night, but said it was a local drive. Asked about her father's account to a follow-up interview on Friday, she said she stood by her claim that he picked her up, and that possible he misremembered. She said there are a lot of things and this stuff that we argue about constantly, something he said or did back in New York around the time period he just doesn't remember. It actually causes a lot of fights sometimes in the household. Okay, so they still live together. Regarding her father's recollections, Tony Buzzbee said we agree. He states he doesn't remember. His DAW explains that he was in no state to remember during the point in time due to personal issues he was having then. We're talking about a time frame of more than 20 years ago. They're trying to say that her dad had a problem with something. Now get this, she also said she spoke with a musician, a Benji Madden, at the party, but a representative for Benji Madden confirmed that neither Benji nor his brother Joel attended the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at the time. She said, honestly, what is clearest is what happened to me, and the route I took it to what happened to me, not all the faces there are as clear. So I've made some mistakes. I may have made a mistake in identifying. Now let me just say this. For her to say she was talking to Benji Madden, she did say something was put in her drink, and I'm just playing devil's advocate. She said something was put in her drink. Maybe again she was talking some random white boy with tattoos and piercings, and she thought that was Benji Madden. However, the one thing that was very disturbing is if you made a mistake about that, then can we be sure that it was Diddy and Jay-Z that did that to you in the room? Do you know what I'm saying? Again, I get it, somebody entering you and you making a mistake are two different things, but I get it, right? You will remember one more than the other. Let's see. They said Diddy and Jay-Z were celebrities who attended the VMAs afterparty at the Lotus nightclub in New York City. It's not clear what time those images were taken, or if Diddy and Jay-Z attended any other afterparties. Okay. The building housing Lotus is now closed, and does not match the description of the house of the woman described in the lawsuit. She said, I didn't know exactly where we were going, or even how long it took. That's fair enough. When asked Tuesday where she thought she was taken that night, She added she had guessed about the length of the time of the trip taken in the lawsuit. Buzzbee said we've attempted to confirm the correct location. We've never suggested the location was the Lotus Club. Our client has been very specific and detailed about the description of the venue she says she was taken to, and she has never stated it was the Lotus Club. We won't speculate on whether there was an afterparty because, again, she doesn't know that. Also among the allegations that could not be corroborated is how she made it to New York City that night. One of her attorneys provided NBC News with the name and birth of her friend, who drove her, who would have been 20 at the time. That person appears to have died. Yeah, NBC News said they attempted to reach her relatives. It was unsuccessful. Yo, Tony Buzz, we got 13W. He got 48 hours to respond because this is not looking good, especially about her father. I want to know more about her and her father's relationship because that's really, really weird. Yeah, let's talk about this. I'm going to try to go live. If not later, we're going to do a Saturday live. I know I've been promising a live, but we won't do this. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments. Does this listen? We got the denial, and they said that when the case is dismissed, they're going to take up motions for sanctions. I highly doubt this case will be dismissed, but that whole thing about her dad picking her up, yeah, something isn't sitting right.